So, as I was saying, I'm Chris Rands with The National, ma'am, and it's a pleasure to be here. And thank you for spending your time with us. I don't want to tire you out too much. So, and I understand I was here, as you might recall, last week for the start of your hunger strike. Can you remind me what day we're in? Is this about day 7 or so? I'm trying to find out.
8.5. Yeah.
And different people, we've done many hunger strikes over the years, some politicians, some other folks. Are you just having water, or water with lemon, or water with honey, or what?
Having water and some medicine tea from a young guy here who's here every day. So drinking that and some fish broth.
And that sounds pretty good as things go.
Yeah.
How are you holding up?
I'm getting a little bit weak. When I stand around, I get a little dizzy. And other than that, my mind's still good, and my body's a little bit weak, but I'm able to stand around and move around. So I'm still healthy. And I don't have diabetic. There was a rumor that I was a diabetic, but I don't have that. There's another young woman here that stays here with me. Her name is Irene Nightel, and she's been here since day one, and she's fasting with me, and she's been spending time here with each day, each night.
So what are your days like at the moment? We're on Victoria Island, just upstream from Parliament Hill, sort of in between the War Museum and the pulp mill plant over there. How do you spend your day?
First thing in the morning, there's people coming here, the chiefs, to do a pipe ceremony and smudging, and we talk about what's going on with our lives, with our culture ways, and how it's important to bring it back with the leaders, and how what are we going through as First Nations, and with the relationship with the government. With the relationship, it's not improving; it's getting worse because the way the Prime Minister is really getting aggressive on our needs. Like he doesn't communicate with us the way he's supposed to, and especially with our leaders, he doesn't have a good relationship with them. And when I see this, that was not intended. The treaty, the treaty was about relationship, and but with this ministry, he's on his own, and he's in a power trip, like he's making plans for our children's future. That's our responsibility as chiefs in the community. It's not the government. So this has been going on too long. Like it's time for them to, it's time for him to recognize our ways of lives, our ways of, the way we teach our children, and the way we protect the land, and the way we maintain our culture and respect our culture.
I think that leads me to the question that's been on our minds is what. We've followed your community and the plight of many other communities. We've seen through pictures, I guess, on our network and others about the plight of your people. What caused you to stop eating, to start fasting? What was the moment that?
It was during the assembly. That was 2 weeks ago, and there was a band counselor talking about his community that they had a flood 2 years ago, and they're still living in hotels, and they were waiting for the government to help them out. But apparently, the government did buy a land for them, but it was too swampy, so they rejected that land. But the government told them, "Well, we're not getting another land." So, in other words, take it or leave it. But in the meantime, his people are suffering. There must have been approximately 18 members that died during that crisis, and now they're not even getting paid with the honorariums or salaries because they're not living on reserve. They're living off reserve. So and he was asking for help to our chiefs that were in the assembly, and nobody could even offer that help, because our hands are tied with the government. We could only do so much for our people, and they start talking about the treaty. They were voicing their concerns how the government is violating the treaty. And this has been going on so long. Like, they've been talking about this in violation of the treaty. So I got up and I asked, how many times are we going to write a letter to the Prime Minister? How many times are we going to rally? How many times are we going to protest for him to recognize that he's in violating our treaty? You know, the Crown made a promise to us that if this treaty had ever been violated, there will be consequences. But the Crown hasn't been stepping in to tell the Prime Minister, you know, you're violating the treaty and the relationship. You know, and this is where the government needs to recognize it's time to stop that.
So that happened at the AFN conference that was over at the Ottawa Convention Center.
Yeah.
That's when the moment you came to.
Yeah, because you know, just hearing that their chiefs, their concerns about the community and the conditions they live. You know, like, we're living in the third world, and this shouldn't be happening in this country. You know, they're getting rich by our land. Everybody's using our traditional land except us, and all these mining companies and other forestries and other things that's been happening in our community. There's no benefit for us. It's all going to the government.
So what do you need to be shown? What do you need to be given, or what does another community need to be given for you to stop your hunger strike?
It's a simple thing I am asking. It's a meeting, a dialogue with the Prime Minister, the Crown, and 2 levels of the government, and with all the leaders. You know, like, they're all part of that treaty. You know, that treaty is supposed to build up the future together, not to put us in a third world condition. So, you know, it's time to sit together, not to have separate meetings. It doesn't work that way.
So, to be precise, you need to sit across the table from Stephen Harper and have the chat.
Not just Stephen Harper, the Crown and the 2-level government is the federal and the provincial, because right now only the federal is working with First Nations, and he can't meet our needs no more. And he's, you know, we need the other government to work with us in order to build our community. And right now, the way it is, it's not working with one federal, and the Crown has to be there too, and you know, to listen what's going on and to know what's going on. Because right now, I don't think the Crown knows what's going on, or I don't know if they do or not, but it's time for them to step in.
So, to be precise, it would be a meeting with the Governor General representing the Crown, Stephen Harper, the Prime Minister, and the Ontario Aboriginal Minister.
And with the leaders, all the leaders, because, you know, the leaders, right now, in my view, the Prime Minister doesn't see our national chief or even the regional chiefs as, you know, as a chief. They only see them as a spokesperson. But, you know, in order to have a good relationship, they have to be part of that government. That means sitting in a parliament with the government, not to ignore them, not disrespect them. And this is what the Prime Minister is doing. Like, he has his own agenda. He doesn't even come together with the chiefs and tell them, let's plan together. Instead, I'll plan for you. That he's saying that's my responsibility, but that's not his responsibility. It's the leadership.
And if that doesn't happen, I mean, it's tricky, even on the best of days, to get all those folks in one room in one day to perhaps through media and others to get them to come together may be difficult. Do you think that you can wait that?
Yes, like I said, I'm willing to wait here until the meeting is going to happen, because it needs to happen now, because our people are suffering as we speak, and the Prime Minister knows that, and he needs to come out with the Crown and say, let's talk and let's build the future together. And like I said, I'm willing to, you know, die for my people, because I could feel the pain what the people are going through. I see it every day in my own community, and I see it on TV what the other First Nations are going through. And with these meetings I go to, the chiefs are experiencing their concerns and their pain in the meetings. So,
what does your community need now? I mean, we those mobile homes that were made, that were trucked up there last winter on the ice roads, I assume are arrived. Have they been set up? Was that of any help?
This is not just about my community. It's about all the First Nations. Like, they have the same issues with us. There's a lot of people living in a poor condition house, and our water quality is not even perfect. We have to boil our water just to get a drinking water. In the meantime, children are taking showers and getting rash. And it's a lot of high cost living for all communities. And this is where the government fails to work together. They need to work together, both governments, because our need is the infrastructure of our community.
And to be precise, it's you really, in your case, you need the McGuinty government, the Ontario Liberals, and the federal Conservatives to work together with their civil services to solve the problem.
For all the First Nations, all the governments and all the nations, First Nation leaders, they need to come together and work together. It can't be separated no more, because it's not working. The way it's being set up, the Indian Act, and we've been in that system for so many years. Like, we're even born in that system. Some of them already died in that system. Now the youth are recognizing. They are aware they're different. Even with that Indian Act, there was a youth that walked around with the Indian Act. It shows that he's determined that he doesn't want to live in that Indian Act system. So that needs to be dissolved right away, because the Indian Act was not part of the treaty, and I don't see why the government trying to replace our treaty with the Indian Act. So we're going to be here forever, and on this land together. So we need to really go and fly together.
Have you ever been this angry? I assume you're quite angry if you come to this point.
Pardon me?
I assume you're quite angry at everything. Have you ever been this angry before to take a step like this?
Well, it's not about angry. Like, it's the pain. The pain. It's too much. Sometimes you can't describe how it is when you live in this kind of system with the government. It's just too much. This year, children. By the time they're 6 years old, they're in a different world. They're already losing their language. It's important for the government to recognize and honor the way we used to live. We want that kind of life again, not for him to control it and say how to live and how to raise our kids, how to teach our kids how to have our law in our own community. Because the way their laws is crippling our people, especially the youth. Even the elders, one of the elders I speak to, said he looks out every day out. No wonder he has tears in his eyes, because he knows what's going on. And they're saying that this government, chahat this you, means he's mean and aggressive. So,
tell me about the feather you're holding. As we speak, you're stroking it, and it seems to have some importance for you.
It was a gift from somebody, I can't remember, but it was during my stay, during this week. When you have a feather and you talk, you're speaking out the truth, and it helps me be calm and remind me that I'm speaking out the truth.
What bird is it from?
Eagle. Yeah.
If I could ask about Idle No More, I know from what I understand, you're not necessarily associated with them in any way, but what do you think of what they're doing, what they're trying to accomplish?
Well, all the First Nations, they're all frustrated, and they're carrying their pain, and they're telling the government enough is enough. You got to start listening to our voice and our leaders and our grassroots people. It is the grassroots people that tell the chiefs what they're going through and what to do, and it's important, and it's the chiefs' duty to stand behind their grassroots people. And this is what these people are doing. They're going to make a lot of noise, and they're not going to stop. It's they're demanding. It's time for peace and a good relationship That was the intent of the treaty. It's about honor, respect, and to build the future together.
Do you think that more movements like Idle No More and Your Hunger Strike and so on are a new wave of activism among Aboriginal leaders? It's such a diverse group of folks across the country.
Well, it's beyond my control what they're doing, but they believe what's happening right now is not working, so they will demonstrate and do other things that I'm not really aware of. But we're here together, and we're going to do it together. And Mr. Prime Minister needs to really listen and see what's going on. Like the Parliament needs to understand that we're here forever. As long as the land is here, we're going to be here, and it's important for all the governments in the Crown and all the leaders and the people to work with us. Canadian citizens are willing to work with us. It's just the government level that's really being ignorant and dishonoring and disrespecting the treaty relationship.
On the first day of your hunger strike, John Duncan said he'd be willing to meet with you, and then later it was said that he'd willing to send Greg Rickford, the MP from Kenora, and his parliamentary secretary up to Attawapiskat to visit and so on. I think from what you said that isn't enough, but what do you think of that offer? Is it would you be willing to take that step?
I didn't ask for Prime Minister Duncan. I asked for the Prime Minister, not Duncan. And I was surprised he even called at my home in Attawapiskat. And he knows I'm here, just right across the Parliament. Like it's not, and I'm sure he drives here every day to work. So it's not the Minister Duncan I want to talk to. It's the Prime Minister and the Crown and all the leaders.
Will you stay here on Victoria Island until your hunger strike ends?
Yes, I will stay here until my last breath if it takes that long.